This meeting is being recorded.
Beautiful. Okay, I think I'm just gonna mute one more person. I'm so excited to be here with all of you on day 3. Thank you for being here with me on these 3 magical days. It has been quite a journey. And I don't know about you guys, but I can just say that for me, every day feels like a deeper initiation into the Queen codes and into the Queen energy. So I'm just like so excited to be here with you. There's a lot of goodness planned in this space. I also want to just make an announcement for those of you who made it to the end of yesterday's call. Maybe some of you didn't get there. I want to just let you know that doors are open to my new program. It's called the Queen Codes. This is a really exciting 8-week program to go deeper with these queens, to step into your power, your sovereignty, and your magic. And I just want you to know if you have felt a resonance throughout these 3 days, if you have felt this part of your heart that's saying, I want to step more into this queen energy, then I really invite you and encourage you to check out the Queen Codes. And I'm actually going to put the link in the chat. 1 second. And I also want to just say, even if you're thinking, oh, I don't know if that's really for me, just check out the landing page. It is an activation in and of itself. So let me just put that in the group chat right there. Beautiful. And the way that like I feel like kind of with me, what you see is what you get. So if you like these 3 days, it's basically more of this. It's more of this. And there are some queens that have come through that are not on the landing page that were bugging me this morning in the most loving way. I had Helen of Troy come in. She's like, why am I not on this page? I was like, I'll put you on the page. So I'm just letting you know that when I do programs, it is very much it's a collaboration with spirit, and it really is. Every person I work with, I want to activate them even more into their power, into their greatness. So if you want to check that out, I put the link in the chat. Anyone watching the replay, I will make sure that the link is there at the bottom of the YouTube video. And I also just want to speak for a second to the fast action bonuses. So if you sign up for the Queen Codes, if this is calling you and in your heart, your soul, you know that you're a yes, and you sign up before midnight Eastern time on Saturday, I have some really exciting fast action bonuses for you. So bonus number 1, you get a one-on-one session with me and we go deep with Cleopatra. You get a one-on-one Cleopatra activation with me. And you'll also receive intuitive guidance and wisdom. And we'll talk about your overarching goals for the program, what you're hoping to step into. Also, a couple exciting, extra bonuses. I think it was November, I did a 4-week course. It was called Prosperity Magic. And oh my goodness. So we worked with like the Roman goddess. We worked with Fortuna, goddess of fortune and luck. We also worked with Lakshmi, Lord Ganesh. And I just want to say, I don't want to toot my own horn here too much, but for those of you who were part of Treasures of Ireland, you know that we raised, right now it's over $8,500. We raised this for the trees to reforest Ireland. And I want you to know that the goddess Fortuna was literally there with me every day, to the point where I almost started calling her in to the Treasures of Ireland calls. But I thought everyone might get confused if I suddenly started calling a Roman goddess into an event that was all about Ireland. But I just want you to know that's a 4-week course that really focuses, on wealth and abundance magic, and also developing a consciousness to go beyond upper limits. And that's actually perfect because part of what we're looking at today with Queen Isabella, and we're about to move into this, is she was a woman who did the impossible. She was the woman who claimed that which was in her heart, and she literally said, it's never been done this way before. I don't care. I am going to do it anyway. And so I share that because, sometimes like we have the inner hearts, but we have upper limits. There's like a glass ceiling that we've never gone beyond before. So prosperity magic, that's something that we talk about, upper limits. So you guys can live your most prosperous, most abundant life. And so that is a course that you get as the bonus if you sign up for the Queen Codes before midnight on Saturday. So that's the Queen Codes. I can share a little bit more about it at the end if people have any questions, but I know that we're all anxious to get started today. So let me just check the chat. Claudine saying prosperity magic is amazing. Thank you, thank you. Beautiful. So yeah, that's a bonus. If you guys like sign up before Saturday night at midnight, you get, the prosperity magic. There's also one little extra bonus, which is a VIP workshop I did on luck and prosperity magic with dragons. So that also is in there. And Claudine is giving me like all the cute fingers. Yes. So these are things that are really dear to my heart. So that's all in. That's all in the bonuses if you sign up before Saturday at midnight. And I'm sharing this with you because I want you to step into your most fruitful, most abundant life. And it feels so fitting to do this after we just spent yesterday activating with the Queen of Sheba. And so before we move into Queen Isabella, so this queen, oh my goodness, I did not realize there was going to be like an upheaval when I announced that like Queen Isabella was like one of the queens that I had chosen. I've received multiple emails from people who were really concerned about this choice that I made. And I want to go into more of Isabella's history. But first, I want to preface this by saying that Queen Isabella was a very complex woman, and she did a lot of groundbreaking things that really shaped history, like shaped the world that we know today. And yet there are also different shadow aspects of her reign. And I don't intend to gloss over them today. But I want it to be known here. One of the big messages that Spirit has brought through with all of these queens, all three of these queens, I want to say I chose them, but the truth is that they all chose me and they all chose you. They wanted to come through for all of you. And sometimes like when we connect with different queens beyond the veil, it's not quite the same as if we were connecting with them in life. For those of you who were there for Treasures of Ireland, one of my great speakers, Cheryl Prince, I was so excited because she is an incredible channel and she was able to bring through Queen Elizabeth. I think you guys, for those of you who didn't, participate in Treasures of Ireland, she was the one who ordered the destruction and cutting down of most of Ireland's trees, to the point where there's only 2% of them left in the world today. And that's why we're trying to reforest the country. But I share this because I wanted to channel Queen Elizabeth. I wanted to be like, why did you do this? And Cheryl was only too willing to step in and be that channel. And it's interesting because there is a discrepancy between the Queen Elizabeth in life and Queen Elizabeth beyond the veil. And in life, Queen Elizabeth, cut down all the trees. A lot of her reign was very brutal. And there's something that came through while Cheryl was channeling. And I asked, did she have any regrets? And it was interesting because in life, she didn't have regrets, but beyond the veil, she did. So like beyond the veil, she really saw that what she was doing was coming more from a place of fear. And so I want to share that when we're connecting with Queen Isabella today, like, yes, we're going to hear about her lifetime. We're going to really focus on the gifts, the gifts that she had, and also the messages she wants to bring through from the other side. So that's just something I wanted to preface. I want to preface today by going into that. And I'm just going to mute a couple more people. If I mute you, don't worry. I still love you. It's like, I still love you. I'm just muting everyone. And so first I want to ask, before we move into Isabella's story, I want to just see in the chat, how have the last 2 days been for you? Was there a queen that you resonated the most with? Was it Cleopatra? Was it the Queen of Sheba? How did that land for you? And also, what are your feelings about Queen Isabella? Is it positive? Is it negative? How do you feel about what we're going into today? And while you're writing in the chat, because I definitely want to hear everyone's perspective, I also want to say that we are connected with Queen Isabella, but we're also shifting into the Aquarian Queen. And the reason I kind of coined this phrase Aquarian Queen, and I really saw Isabella as an Aquarian Queen, not because she was perfect. And that's a code that actually came through. I wrote this down. Hold on, I have my little notebook here. What did it say? I think there's something that I wrote down. There is no perfect ruler. There is no perfect leader. And that's the whole thing. It's a lot of people, were incensed. I'm not going to be kidding. The emails I received, they were incensed that I chose Queen Isabella. And I want to start, I really want to share how awesome she was. But I think that I have to honor and do justice to some of the emails I received from members of my community. The two big claims that people lay against her, one was the Spanish Inquisition. That was
Oh,
um, a really horrific time in human history, where there were a lot of Islamic and Jewish people who were forced to leave the country of Spain, and it was very violent. And to show my solidarity, I'm actually wearing, it's so funny because I know that a lot of these tensions between countries, they are centuries in the making. And I'm going to actually explain, I did research this before the call. I wanted to see more of the tensions at play to try and understand why Queen Isabella did what she did. But I also am wearing, I don't usually wear this. This is a necklace I bought when I was in Israel. And there's a beautiful story that comes with it. I was in Sfat, which is like the holy, like the birthplace of Kabbalah. That's like mystical Judaism. And it's interesting because I saw this necklace and it was like $300. And at the time, this was years ago, I was like $300. And I picked, but I was drawn to this necklace and I picked it up and my hand started to vibrate and shake. And I was like, I'm supposed to have this. And I didn't have it. Like I didn't have $300 to spend on a necklace. And I know the guy said it was real silver, real gold. And this was a rabbi in Spa, one of the head rabbis. And it's funny, he said, I can see, maybe because my hand was like freaking out over there, I can see you are really connected to this piece. He says, how about this? And he said, I will take this. And he put it in this little velvet pouch. And he said, I will hold this. This is meant for you. I know this is meant for you. I will hold this until the day that when you have enough, send me the money, even if it's 3 months from now, 6 months from now, and I will mail this to you. So I'm just sharing that. So anyway, I did literally, it was like 4.5 months later, I returned to the United States and I was like, I'm supposed to have this. And for me, this was a symbol of power. That's what he said. It was, this was a symbol of power. And I'm wearing this in solidarity, even though we are honoring Queen Isabella and we are here to really look at her lifetime and the gifts and the wisdom that she has for us. I want to make sure that I'm not glossing over the other people. Like because that's the whole thing, is there has never been a perfect ruler. There has never been a perfect leader. And one of the other comments that I got was that I glorified Julius Caesar. And I know that I don't even know what to say, because I feel like when we look at these historic figures, we can't look at them through the eyes of judgment. We can only look at them as they were who they were in that lifetime. They shaped the course of history. They stepped into their greatness as well as they could. And we can focus on everything they did wrong, or we can say, how can I do better? And I feel like that is Isabella's message for us as we step into this embodiment of the Aquarian Queen. How can I do better? And I'm just telling you, I received so many messages about Queen Isabella that I almost didn't want to do this call today. I'm being fully honest. I almost did not want to do this. And I was like, oh my God, how can I answer for like the crimes this woman has done, even though she did so many good things, even though she was a visionary and a revolutionary in so many respects. And what came through from her, I felt this message: don't back down. There is something here that you are meant to share. Don't back down. And
yeah.
when you connect, hold on, I'm just going to mute. Yes. When you hear, Isabella's story, you will see that this is what she did throughout her lifetime. And I'm talking about the very, very beginning of her lifetime. She became queen. She claimed queen. It was actually a coup. She claimed the right of queen when there had not been a queen in Spain in over 250 years. This was not done. And I'm sharing this because her choice, her decision to take that power for herself as a woman was revolutionary. And what's more, she really had a vision. She had a vision of I know that there was a large part of her that wanted to spread Christianity, but I really do feel that she had a vision of a new world, a bigger world. And that's really what we're tapping into today. Isabella as the visionary, Isabella as the one who said, let us create the new world. So let me just see in the chat how everyone is resonating with this. Okay, so Claudine said Isabel was surprised you that you were trusting me. It was going to come through. Um, Also for you, it's good to come from a perspective of curiosity and not prejudgments. Okay, wonderful. Ina, you said the Queen of Sheba. You liked her strength and wisdom. Claudine, thank you for commenting on the necklace. Yes, I wanted to wear the necklace to show my solidarity to both sides. And I feel like we're going to start today, actually, even before we go into her history, I think we're going to start almost with some kind of like a soul retrieval of sorts. That's the sense I have. I think that there is some healing that needs to be done here before we can really dive deeply into Queen Isabella. And so, Rama, let's see. So yes, like she sent the Jews away with no gold or silver to start a new life with, nothing. It's interesting because that's what I'm called to wear today. Was like I said, there is sexual gold here in the center and silver, and I received this in the holy Jewish city of Spot. So that's interesting. Let's see. Katerina, you said you enjoyed both activations and you were surprised by how much came through in merging with those magnificent queens. Bridget, you said, thank you, Bridget. You said you are a courageous queen. She wants to share her potent message through you. Thank you. I received that. I fully received that. Katerina, you said all of this is perfect for you today. Let's see. Oh, so you were conceived in Israel and born on Washington's birthday in White Plains. I love that. And Raven, thank you. You said, as someone who specialized in shadow integration, I was pretty impressed with your confidence to bring the medicine forth. Thank you. Rama, you also said she claimed her right to consent to whom she would marry. Yes. So that was a big thing. When you hear about the history, so she actually was originally a political pawn. She was kind of seen as a political pawn, and her older brother, Enrique, kept trying to marry her off. It's like, how do I get her out of my way? Because I don't want her in the line of succession. So literally, I think there were like 4 or 5 different engagements that, Isabella was supposed to marry someone that tragically fell through. And then actually, I think this is really exciting. She ends up, marrying Ferdinand. Everyone knows this, but the way she did it was very brave, very valiant. So before she marries Ferdinand, so interestingly enough, so Isabella was one of 3 children. And so her older brother, Enrique, was the one that was actively king. However, he was not a very good king. And we've discussed in the last couple of days, we talked about what I define as the divine right of kings. And this is an ancient concept. And basically it means when there is a good and noble leader, like when there's a good ruler, the land flourishes. There is great abundance, there is great fertility. When the king is only into hedonism and himself, the land withers and dies. And that really is kind of what happened with Enrique. He was so into his own pleasure. He did not care about the people. There was lawlessness everywhere in Spain. And the time that Isabella was born into, you could not leave like the castle walls. Because if you were to leave, there was lawlessness everywhere. There was robbery, there was rape, there were so many things that it was a very scary place for Isabella to grow up. And so she grew up in a very lawless, I don't want to say lawless nation because there are all these different kingdoms. They were always vying for control of power. And because Enrique, this was the elder brother, believe like he's called, I think we call him like Henry the Fourth, but I believe like in Spain it would be Enrique. He was also called like, I believe like El Impotente. And so that's like impotent. And so it's interesting because there is the belief that he actually favored men, not women, and that the child that his wife bore him was not actually his own. And so in life too, he had no interest. He would throw these big lavish parties for himself while the rest of the country was starving. So Isabella was not part of this. She was set off by herself. She actually lived a very lonely childhood, and she lived very lonely childhood. And there was a younger brother, I believe his name was Alfonso, the younger brother, uh, who people started to want him to be king because they saw that Enrique was just a hedonist. They were horrified by all the things that he was doing, to the country. He was not a noble leader. He was not a noble ruler. There was there's great calamity. There was no order. There was just chaos. And so people started to want Alfonso to become the king. And so he was very young. He was younger than Isabella. I believe at this time he was only 12 or 13. And so there's this big moment where Isabella has to decide, who am I going to support? My older brother, who is king, but is actually destroying the kingdom, is creating lawlessness everywhere. Or my younger brother, who maybe he is the bright new future I have been hoping for. And so there is this big, powerful moment where people are looking to her. Who is she going to support? Because she was a princess. She was a princess, and she was like one of those three children. There were only three potential heirs, and Isabella wasn't even really considered an heir because she was a woman, and there hadn't been a female queen in her own right in over 250 years. So no one was looking to Isabella to be queen. So in this great moment, in front of many people, she sees her younger brother, Alfonso. She runs to embrace him. And this is a political statement. She is saying, I am aligning with my younger brother. I'm aligning with him. I choose him to be the future king. So this brings like great consternation, great war. And that's the whole thing. So Isabella grows up in this very war-torn nation until a little bit longer into the war, something very tragic happens. And, Alfonso is poisoned. And they can't prove who did it, but she believes that it is, I'm trying to remember his name. Hold on, let me just see. I'm going to mute. I think someone just came in. I'm going to mute them. Bottom line, younger brother is poisoned. And so it literally is just Isabella and her brother Enrique. So she decides she will announce, she will commit her loyalty once more to her older brother. She does this, and the kingdom falls even into greater state of disrepair because he does not know how to lead. He does not know how to do this. Whereas Isabella, her whole life, she has become proficient in Latin. She has read many books. She is very knowledgeable in many different languages, in art and literature and philosophy. In many ways, her whole life, she has been training herself to be a queen. And one of the agreements, so there's a lot of time where how do I say, there's kind of a contention of who should have the power, but they come to an accord. And one of the agreements in the accord is that Isabella will choose who she is going to marry. So that is like, there's a lot more of the history. I'm just like wanting to like get to that point because I think Rama, it was actually Rama who put that in the chat. Yes. So that's what I was trying to get to. So basically Isabella has this power now. And one of the things that she says is, I want to choose who I get to marry. I do not want there to be a husband chosen for me. So at this point, there have been many husbands chosen for her, and they were all political choices. None of them were interesting to her. She literally went to one of the kingdoms to meet a potential prince, a potential suitor, and refused on the spot. So she was very tired of being kind of like used as a political pawn, and she wanted to choose who she could marry. And this in itself was revolutionary for a queen. And at this point in time, she was not queen yet. I want to make that distinction. She was still a princess, but this was revolutionary for a woman to say, I will be the one who chooses who I will wed. And so actually what happens, there is a king, not quite a king yet, but he will be. Right now he's a prince in a neighboring place, Aragon. So we all have heard Ferdinand of Aragon. So she decides it must be him. And she's never met him before. But after like going through all the possible people, like all the other kingdoms, she's like, it's got to be him. It must be him. And she sets out herself. She sends him letters, and this is very secret. She arranges her own marriage to Ferdinand. And so what she does, and even the way, because she is forbidden to go near the kingdom of Aragon because her brother fears the kingdom of Aragon because they are a neighboring power, and he does not want them to have any claim to his throne. So that if there is one kingdom that she is forbidden from connecting with, it is the kingdom of Aragon. Who does Isabel want to connect with? Of course, the young Prince Ferdinand, Prince of Aragon. So she has never met him before, but they exchange letters and they come up with a daring plan. So they are going to meet. They can't meet in either of their kingdoms. They need to meet at a midway point. And so what Isabella does when the time has come, when it's that right moment, she tells everyone in her castle that she is going to visit the grave of her younger brother who passed away. Mind you, I told you now that like we know that he was poisoned. At the time, Isabella was afraid to even say that she knew he was poisoned, but she knew that if she told people he was poisoned, that it would create all kinds of political unrest. And so it was at that time, it was just said, oh, he died of plague, he died of sickness. But Isabella knew that the time she lived in was very dangerous. And there were people who were very much watching her and the choices she made. So on this day that she had attended, that she was going to meet Ferdinand and get married in secret, she told her servants, she told like the people who were with her that she was just going to visit the grave of her deceased younger brother. She was just going to pay her respects. As soon as she got out of the sight of the castle, she ran for it. And she ran for it, and she ended up literally going on a journey, staying in all different places. I think it was a multi-week journey, or she even stayed in convents, all different places to get to the spot where she was supposed to meet Ferdinand. And Ferdinand, to get to her, was no easy thing either. I believe there are stories that he pretended to be a mule driver. He only had a couple men go with him. He was very secret too. There are even some stories that say Ferdinand himself had to pretend to be a servant. So they literally are coming from two opposite places, and they haul up. And at last, they lay eyes on each other for the first time. As luck would have it, this is a happy match. There is an immediate attraction, immediate chemistry between them, and they are married within the week. Granted, I'm pretty sure they were getting married anyway, but this is a happy moment for Isabella. This is a very happy moment, and at last, she has chosen the man that she will marry, and she chose it on her own terms. When her older brother Enrique finds out, he is furious, very furious. This actually really causes a break between them, and even more fighting. But I share this with you because I think this act was revolutionary for Isabel to choose the person that she would be with. So I just want to say, within 3 months, Isabella is pregnant. She is pregnant, with an heir. With an heir to the throne. And like I said, she's not queen yet, but she's still in that line of potential succession. So I'm just going to take a break because there's more coming. There is more coming because, like I said, we have to see, when does Isabella actually become queen? And so I'm really focusing on her early life, because I think that what she did, choosing who she would marry and literally escaping from her own castle. She stayed with different families. It was all very secret just to get to Ferdinand. It was multiple weeks for her to get there. So I'm just sharing the boldness, the daring that she possessed to do that, to go against the grain of what everyone else told her she was supposed to do and what she was supposed to be. And that is part of the transmission. That's part of the activation I want to bring through. So let me just see in the chat, how does that story, how does that feel for you guys? Oh, Annabelle, you're saying yes, Enrique, yes. Okay, beautiful. Rama, she really brought order and safety. Yes. So that is the thing. When she becomes queen, we're going to see this, that Isabella, when I know I'm skipping ahead here, but we all know that she becomes queen. So I'm going to share more of how that happens. But no, once she is queen, because she grew up in this very lawless state, like I said, there was murder, there was rape, it was just very unsafe. You could not leave the castle. And I believe for anyone from Spain, my history might not be correct, but I think Castile, I think that's where she's from. And I believe it literally means castle because there were just fortifications everywhere. Like in this time in Spain, you did not leave your fortification. You did not leave your castle because it was too dangerous to do so. So I'm just like letting you know that when Queen Isabella finally takes power, again, we haven't gotten there yet in the story, but when she finally takes power, the first thing she does is she creates order. She creates safety. She also creates a police force. She creates like a good, positive police force to make sure that there is no longer lawlessness. She rewrites different laws. She really creates, she creates order for this and for almost all of Spain. She, at this point, like I said, there are different kind of kingdoms, but she really makes sure that the place like that she grew up in, that the kingdom that she knew, that is not the kingdom that she is queen over. She really has a vision of a much safer place for her people. So I want to bring that through, that she really does create a lot of law and order. So let me just check in the chats. Oh, yes. And Ram, you said safety. Yes, that's really what I want to bring through. She really brought through safety. And again, this is more in the beginning of her lifetime. Bridget, you're setting up for my course. Thank you. I'd love to have you in the course. I'm super excited. Let's see. Okay, so I think that's okay. So Katerina, you say, what a thrilling story. Her courage and ingenuity are very inspiring. Oh, and Bridget, you say it's electrifying you. Out of all the queens, you resonate most with her, which surprises you. Yes, no, I'm telling you, this morning when I woke up, I told you, because of all the emails I received, I was like, how can and it's funny because this was something that I also wanted to bring through. So something that people don't always know about Queen Isabella is that she loved Joan of Arc very, very much. She loved Joan of Arc from the time she was a young girl. She would read books of her. Joan of Arc was her idol, was her hero. And I should say heroine. And I'm sharing this because I think that in some ways this was good and it was bad. And so on the one hand, like Joan of Arc was very strong. Like she was like a warrioress. She was a very strong person for Isabella to look up to. And yet there was this great belief of needing to spread Christianity and needing to spread the Christian faith. And it's interesting because I had to kind of contend a little bit this morning before I got on the call, and I was like, oh my God, there's so many people who are concerned that I chose to focus on Isabella. And I had this thought, but I was divinely guided. I had this thought, these three queens, they were divinely guided. I'm following like the divine guidance I received. And then I had this, oh my God, Queen Isabella thought the same thing. She really felt, whether it was true or was not true, she really felt that she was doing God's work in the world by spreading Christianity. And so I think that's another code I want to bring through is we actually have to look at when we are divinely guided to do something, is it coming from the place that is the highest of the high? And I think this is what separates the Aquarian Queen from like the queens of the past, because I truly believe Isabella like she did what she believed was right. But I feel that all of us here in this Aquarian age, all of us here who are joined together in the spirit of love and oneness, we would not make the choices that she made, nor does she want us to make the choices that she did. In this moment, when we are divinely guided, we get to look, does this come from the holiest of holies? Does this come from ultimate truth? And the greatest of all truths is love. We all know this. That's why we're here. And I'm just wanting to share this because my sense is that Isabella wants us to be fearless, to be daring, to be bold. but she also wants us to look at this new world that we are creating and not necessarily choose the way she did. Not to choose because of conditioning, but instead to really come from a space deep within us, in our own hearts, and say, what is the new world that we are building together? And I feel like that's the message I'm wanting to bring through for us today. And I feel that Isabella, regardless of what she did in her life, I feel that is her message for you. Every single one of you here. And I know that I have people signed up for this who are also men. And I mean this for the men too. She is wanting all of us to genuinely to claim our power, to step into it, to be fearless and bold. And when we make fearless choices, bold choices, to let it come from love. Because I feel that that is where Isabella went wrong. And because she fought for Christianity. She fought for a religion. But when we look at Jesus Christ, when we look at the person who was the origin of that religion, Jesus stood for love. We all know this. And I know at this point, I'm just preaching to the choir, but what I mean to say is that I feel that energy here today, that spark of divine love. And I feel that Isabella was not
looking for something fun. My brain is always going a million miles.
Well, I'm just muting someone. Thank you. So I'm just sharing that because I feel that people think that they're doing the right thing. And we get to step into true unconditional love. We get to step into great discernment now here in this Aquarian age. So that's one thing that I wanted to share. And I do want to say, let me just tell you a little bit more about Queen Isabella actually becoming queen. So one thing I want to say, and then I will check out the chat and we'll go into the activation for today. And I do want to say the activation for today is really around that idea of Isabella as a visionary, and it's really to activate you. It's to activate you as a visionary, because that's what I am most impressed with about Isabella, is the vision she had for what was possible. And so I want to say here, so when Isabella finally becomes queen, here's how it all goes down. And this is very methodical. This is very intentional on her part. So, her brother Enrique dies. I also do want to say that I find this a bit sad. She actually reconciles. There's a lot of fighting for multiple years. And after she marries Ferdinand, they don't speak for about 4 years. Her and her brother Enrique, there is fierce fighting between them. And because they're people that they don't appreciate him. They don't think he's a good king. They don't want to support him. So there is great fighting, and Ferdinand is really on the front lines, really like fighting for Isabella. And what ends up happening, finally, they decide to meet, and nobody expects them to actually meet and to actually reconcile. But they do, and they're actually so happy to see each other. And this breaks my heart, because when they saw each other, like I said, it had been 4 years since they had, like, either of them had laid eyes on each other. And he had actually just, come back from a hunting trip, I believe. And he met her, I think it was almost like in her garden. And he just ran up to her and embraced her. 4 years of battle and fighting and anger. And he just runs up and embraces her. And it was just, they had a very, very happy reconciliation. It was like, I believe 2 or 3 weeks. It was a very, very happy reconciliation. And then this is where the story twists a little bit. So I remember I told you that the younger brother was poisoned. Well, guess what? Something similar happens to Enrique. Enrique doesn't die like the younger brother did, but Isabella cannot prove that it wasn't she who gave the poison. So he says to her, like, I believe you didn't do it. I believe you didn't do it. But there are all these counselors whispering in Enrique's ear, she must have. I believe the historians actually believe it was one of those counselors who wanted to create more consternation and anger between them. But that was the last time they saw each other, and they did not part on good terms, because even though when they first connected again, they were so happy to see each other, he couldn't quite. But being poisoned in her household didn't sit very well with him. So Anyway, moving forward, it's not much longer before Enrique, he doesn't die of poison, but he dies shortly thereafter. He's weakened, he passes on, and Isabella is she's now the only daughter left. She's a princess. And so she, day one, is all decked out in all the mourning regalia in black. She is ready. Like she mourns. Even though she fought against him, bitterly for years, she mourns him and she shows up as a loving, devoted sister. She does all the rites of mourning. She prays for him. She speaks so highly of him in his lifetime. And then the next day, something unprecedented happens, something that no one is expecting. So the next day, people see her, Isabella, on a white horse. And not only is she there on a white horse, she is leading a procession. She is at the front of this procession, and she is not dressed as a princess. No, she is dressed as a queen such as not been seen in hundreds of years. There are jewels that are sewn into her gown. And in front of her, there is one person in front of her. There is a man, and this man is carrying a sword. It is a naked blade. It is held right up to the sky. And this is very important because he carries it in such a way, it shows he means business. And by we really are talking about Isabella because she is queen. And this blade is up to the sky because it shows that she will be fearless. She will be as fearless as any man, and she will do whatever needs to be done to protect her kingdom in a way her brother never did. And so she walks through the streets, and behind her, there is also, like I said, there's a procession. She has all different noble men and women behind her supporting her cause. This must have taken months for her to set up the gown, everything. And the people are shocked because they have not seen something like this. This is real nobility. This is real royalty. And I should say, I believe this happened. So I mentioned, Enrique, he's just passed on. He's just died. And, this is the day after his funeral. But he, besides, like, remember I told you that the people called him El Impotente, like being impotent, it was believed his child wasn't even his own. There's another story of a great battle. He runs away. He runs away and he leaves all of his men fighting. And so again, like, this is why the people, they're just like, they don't respect him as king. And so it's almost like the title of royal has become a joke. The nobility has become a joke. And yet when they see Isabella like this, it's like, oh my God, there is a queen. There is the royalty that we have been seeking. That is what we have been missing in this world. And so Isabella, that day, she actually goes there and she prostrates herself. She goes into church, prostrates herself, praying to God that she will be a good queen, a good leader to these people. And there is a crown placed upon her head, and she claims the throne. And make no mistake, I said before, this was a coup because essentially she wasn't really supposed to do this. There was kind of a question about exactly who should be in control, who was supposed to be in charge, but she didn't care. She didn't care because she just claimed it. And that's really one of the messages that she wanted me to bring through for you guys today. It's to claim your dreams, to claim your destiny, because no one can claim it for you. And she could have waited for someone else to give her that title. But if she waited, she probably never would have received it. And so I'm sharing this with you because then after, like I said, she prostrates herself and she, prostrates herself before God, the divine, and is like, let me be a good queen. Let me do right by these people. So they see this, this demonstration of devotion, great, heartfelt, pious devotion. And there is no ceremony here because Queen Isabella, she was deeply devoted to the divine. Even though she was misguided at times, that devotion was very authentic, was very real. And they all feel her piety. They all feel how deeply in her heart she loves God, the divine, and how earnest she is about wanting to be a good and proper queen and to do what her brother never did. So after she, prostrates herself, she gets up and she speaks to the people, promising them that she will bring law and order and safety and harmony to these lands once more. And she speaks to all of the pains, all of the things like in their lives that they have struggled with. She vows to right them. And this moves their hearts because there is finally someone that is going to stand for them. And this is what I want to say. This is what a leader does. A leader stands for the people. It's not just her wants or her needs or her desires. That was what her brother did. But she says, no, I will stand for you. And so I'm wanting that to come through, because I think, like I said, her later reign is where things get a little bit murky. But I'm really focusing on this earlier reign of Queen Isabella, because I feel that there is not just a fearlessness, but this was against something undone. This was not done. And to many, this would have been impossible. She had done this impossible thing. How did she do it? She stepped forward. She claimed it. So that's just something I wanted to bring through. And I do want to just say a little bit more when her husband, Ferdinand, because he's not actually there when she does this, which I think kind of makes it even cooler. She doesn't even tell him she's going to do this. He's off in Aragon. He's, in that's, where he is originally from. So he doesn't hear about this. It's like a week and a half later, he finally hears what his wife did. He's like, oh my God. And he is enraged. As a man, he is so enraged that she would do this. So he goes back at once immediately to her, and, but he, then as he's traveling, he calms down a little bit. He's like, oh my God, if she's queen, I really need to show up in a good way here. So that he meets her wearing his very best suit, he's decked out. And when they see each other, they're very cordial. Like they really come together as like king and queen. But that's just in front of everyone. The second that Ferdinand gets Isabella behind closed doors, he is furious. And he just, he like lashes into her. How could you do this? And like, not even sending me a letter, with not even sending me a line. How could you do this? Who do you think you are? Like, who do you think you are to claim this? And so in this moment, I read this in a book, actually. It's like more historical fiction, but I feel the truth of it here. She feels that it's actually, he's really more angry because it's almost like as a man, he feels more wounded. It's like that that because she's in power, he's almost going to be emasculated now. And she, again, very, very astute, very wise and sensitive. She says, I will not just be queen. We will be king and queen together. I will also make you king of this realm. We will be equal. It will not just be me, Queen Isabella. We will both be, king and queen together of this realm. And so this really soothes him. He is actually he's coronated. He gets to become king, and all of the documents that they, sign, it's always with his name first. And again, that's a concession she makes, but it definitely soothes him, and it makes him feel that he is her equal. And so I should say that, like I said, at this point in time, Ferdinand, in his own kingdom, he was still a prince. His father, the king, was still alive. So when Ferdinand's father, who I believe his name was John, when Ferdinand's father finally passes away, Ferdinand becomes king of Aragon. He follows in kind. He returns the favor to Isabella. So he is king of Aragon, and he also makes Isabella queen of Aragon. So now, like I said, they were two neighboring provinces. Now they are king and queen of a very large and powerful landmass, and they are a force to be reckoned with. They are the ultimate power couple. So we are going to go into an activation in a minute, but I just want to say, I'm going to take a sip of water, and then I want to say something cool that I found out. Well, I didn't really find it out. It was just more like putting it all together, all the pieces together. So for those of you, because I know a lot of you were with me in Treasures of Ireland when we were raising money for the trees. And one thing I mentioned that I had the wonderful Cheryl Prince channel Queen Elizabeth. And I was asking her questions, did she feel remorse for what she did, cutting and burning down the trees in Ireland? And what really came through is that Queen Elizabeth had such great fear of Spain and the Spanish Armada. And a lot of what she did, she had no remorse in her lifetime because she was actually coming more from survival, and she was so entrenched in that energy of fear. And I remember listening to that and being like, how could she have been like, I mean, not how could she be so afraid, but it wasn't until I heard these stories of Isabella and like all of these different like warring kingdoms in Spain that I really understood the power. Like that was the power that like Queen Elizabeth was so afraid of. And it's interesting because Ferdinand and Isabella, they have several children. The last child, their youngest, is Catherine of Aragon, who you guys may know, she was the first wife of Henry VIII, who Henry VIII, you guys, I'm sure many of you know, that is the father of Queen Elizabeth through Anne Boleyn. So it's very interesting. I was surprised actually that these royals, to me, I didn't think of Queen Isabella as having much of a connection to Queen Elizabeth, but I do actually see that in history there is a link between them. So I'm just sharing this because it once more speaks to the interconnectedness of all life, but also the interconnectedness between these kings and queens. And again, many of them, they were flawed. These were flawed kings and queens. And part of what we are doing here is we are reclaiming holy royalty. It's like holy royalty. The mistakes that they made, the mistakes these people made that did not come from the highest love. We get to see these mistakes. We get to honor them as parts of the past. And now we get to choose to build a new world together. So I think that without further ado, I'm going to check the chat and then we're going to do an activation. Before the activation, I think I do want to call in Anubis for some great healing, for anything that is up for clearing for the people who are in this group. Anything that we can heal here today, I want to do that first before we meet Isabella, just because, like I said, she does have such a complicated history. And the last thing, sorry, I keep thinking I'm done and they keep having me bring more through. So I know a lot of this, people here are very familiar with a lot of the history that I'm sharing, but I think it's important for it to be present in this space. And so when I first, got that Queen Isabella was to be one of the queens, I was surprised, not so much for the Inquisition. I was surprised because I had mixed feelings about Christopher Columbus. Especially, I'm American. And so for me, I know that Christopher Columbus, I know, actually, we all know this, he was looking for China. Isabella gave him ships, gave him money to go on an expedition to the Orient, to China, for spices, for trade, for all of that good stuff. He thought that he was going to China, not realizing there was other stuff in the way. And so for me, I always had a very hard time with Columbus because of what he did to the native people. And that really was what tore at my heart. But one thing that I learned, and this made me actually feel a little bit better about Isabella. So I want you guys to know, and this is historically like proven, she forbade Columbus. She did not want him to hurt or enslave the native people. Once they realized that, like, actually they didn't go to China, like once they realized, like they first, I believe it was the Caribbean, they first went to the Caribbean before they got to the Americas. And once like they got there, Isabella forbade him to hurt or enslave the native people. It was Columbus himself who did not listen. And when Isabella learned this, she had Columbus arrested. And there are stories that Columbus at one point was actually brought back to Spain in chains to answer for what he did to the native people. And I share this because this is a moment where I respected Isabella, because from this example, I see that she did value the sacredness of life. She didn't want the native people harmed, and she forbade him to do so. So I just wanted to share that because I think that casts like some light on her complexity. And she was just a very complex woman, a very complex figure. So I think that's the history that wants to come through. I want to check in the chat. what is it like to hear all of this? How is this resonating for you? And like I said, when we do the activation with Isabella, we're really going to be focusing more on that aspect of her as the visionary. And, we're going to be activating you as a visionary. And then we're going to connect really with like this cosmic Aquarian queen. But I do feel that Isabella just has had a lot of chutzpah, had a lot of daring and courage. And like I told you, the message she gave to me today when I was almost afraid to come forth with her today, don't back down. Because today we need people who won't back down. We need people who won't back down. And she was, if anyone didn't back down, it was Queen Isabella. Okay. So Annabella being Portuguese, you do resonate. Good. Thank you. There was so much history between like the Portuguese and the Spanish. And I was like, oh my God, how am I going to convey this? Hopefully I've done an okay job. Okay. So Rama, you are saying she is revered on the Camino Santiago protection for pilgrims by the Knights of Templar. She encouraged deep devotion and justice. Thank you, Rama, for sharing this. Okay. Oh, Annabella saying I'm doing great. Thank you. I know I'm really trying to handle this with a lot of grace and sensitivity because it's not black and white. So let me see here. Okay. Angela, you said Isabella resonates with you because of her love of new plants, new lands. She had the heart of an explorer. Yes, yes, I love this. She had the heart of an explorer. That's beautiful. And let me just see. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just reading. Raven, you've written something here about actually I'm not sure if I should read this whole thing. Okay, let me see. Okay, so I'm going to come back to Raven's comment here because she does say like Hitler also believed he was doing good, and it's a tough call. I want to honor everyone who's here in this container because I think that's the whole thing is I don't want to silence anyone's voice, and so it is a tough call. Sometimes like we feel we are doing the right thing and how do we really know we're doing the right thing? And so Raven, I like that you said we have to just, allow ourselves to only take what resonates. Yes, but it's a tough choice. I feel that I'm just glad that you brought that into this space because I think that as sovereign beings, again, this is an activation for kings and queens. We get to decide, we get to create our world. And that's something that I feel very strongly. That's part of why I feel like there is this Aquarian queen energy that's wanted to come through. For so long, only the nobility had power. For so long, they had power over, and the people did not. And here in this moment, at last, we get to stand up as leaders in our own right. We get to decide the world that we're going to live in. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that the structures around us, like the political structures that we have come to experience in our lifetimes, a lot of these control structures, I believe a lot of that is crumbling. And the next few years, we will see a brand new world emerging. And I believe it is incumbent upon us to look at history, to look at these leaders of the past. They're good, they're bad, to look and to learn and to choose who we will be. And that really is, I think, the invitation for all of us today. Queen Isabella was not perfect, but I do feel that she showed fearlessness and she chose to do what others considered impossible. And she invites all of us to know that we can do the impossible. We can do groundbreaking things. We can create this new world together. And that really is the Aquarian vision. It is not one. It is not one, it is all of us. And so that's something I just wanted to share before we go into the activation. Let me just check the chat. Okay. Let's see. Okay, beautiful. Okay. So okay. I think we're good with the chat. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so now we're gonna go into sacred circle and we're definitely we're gonna light some candles. I have perfume. I feel like because we're calling in Anubis, basically this is just more of my background. When I do like deep soul retrieval, deep healing work, I usually work with Egyptian gods and goddesses. And in this case, I really feel Anubis. So even though Not sure how Queen Isabella feels about this, but we did open day one with Cleopatra. We opened Cleopatra, so there really is, we have Egyptian vibes going here. So, okay, let me take a sip of water and then I'm going to cast our sacred circle. Okay, beautiful. Okay. I cast this circle to create a space beyond space and time beyond time. I cast the circle to block out all energies and spirits that are not allies of ours. I cast this circle that all energies raised herein remain confined. As above, so below, as within, so without, the circle is sealed. Into the space I call the elements, earth, air, fire, water. I call upon the directions, north, south, east, west, above, below, and within. First, I call in Queen Isabella to be here with us in this space. Thank you for your sacred presence here. We honor you as one of great wisdom. Even though you may not have always been perfect in your lifetime, we know that you have wisdom to share and activations to bring through for the people here, that they may go forth in the world, living their highest destinies, aligned with the highest love. Isabel, that is what we call forth from you, a realignment of the heart for all of us here to come from a place of the deepest, deepest love, kindness, and respect for all of humanity, for every man, woman, and child. Let us come from this place now. Let us come into deep humility, deep love, deep respect for all of life. And in this space, I want to call the one and only Anubis, Anpu, be here with us. Isis, Great Queen, be here with us. And I'm going to, at this point, for any of you who have anointing oil or perfume, whenever I work with Isis, I make sure that I have perfume. So this is, putting this on my hands for all of us here. This is just to really bring through the sacred energy for all of us. We're moving into sacred space now for deep healing and activation. And I'm just going to anoint my crown, third eye, heart. And I really do feel there's something here about the heart. I feel like there's something in Isabella's reign about kind of losing her heart in the process. I also want to call in Joan of Arc. And I really feel that, like, right away, I feel that Anubis is wanting to come in to really enact like a powerful soul retrieval for everyone here. And I'm not sure if there are those of you here who lived in the time of Queen Isabella, or if it was perhaps something in your ancestry, or there were just past lives that held a similar echo of violence. But whenever you are here today to heal, I invite the great god Anubis, and I should say Isis herself, who many consider the most powerful goddess, even she bows before Anubis. So as we start today, I want to light this beautiful candle in reverence and honor of the healing and activation work that we are doing today. Also stipulating that after we do this clearing, we will move into our queen codes, because part of stepping into royalty, part of stepping into this energy of the queen, the king, sometimes we must make amends for the past. I shouldn't say sometimes, many times. We must look at the leaders who came before us, what they did wrong, what they did right, and choose our own way based off of their example. And so here in this space, I invite you to see the god Anubis before you. He is very, very tall, almost the size of two grown men. And he has the head of a jackal. He is most revered. And though he may appear scary to you, know that he is a heart of the purest, deepest love. And he says, there is something in you today that is meant to be healed. Perhaps as a part of your soul, a part of your soul from another lifetime. A lifetime where you experienced violence, persecution. something that hurt you to the depths of your being. And now I invite you just to see if there's anything that comes up for you. Maybe you may feel something in your body. Maybe you'll have a flash of a past life. It doesn't matter if nothing comes up. Just hold the space now for Anubis. And Anubis reaches forward and places a hand on your heart. And I invite you to take your own hand and place it over Anubis's. And really in this moment, open to him. And if you trust this great God, this great being, I invite you to let him take your heart out for just a second, knowing that your heart is safe in the hands of this great God. He holds the heart up. There's a bit of magic. There's a beautiful black and golden light that moves from his hands as he cleanses your heart, purifying it. This black light from his hands, this is not darkness or shadow. This is the void from which all things come. He works with birth, rebirth, for death is only the beginning, he says. And he takes this heart of yours, healing it. And this is very sacred to the point where you may even hear angels. You may hear a beautiful song before you. We call here today all the highest level guides and team who are wanting to be part of this sacred ceremony, this sacred healing. And again, I feel there are angels present. You may hear music as your heart is being healed. And now, very, very gently, Anubis brings this heart back to your breast, placing it very tenderly back inside. Just take a moment to breathe into this space, the space in the heart. Does it feel different? And now, Anubis, we call upon you, great God, one of the most powerful beings of ancient Egypt, for soul retrievals, for anyone here in this space. If there are pieces of souls, parts of souls from different timelines, different dimensions, different lifetimes, where people face persecution, unnecessary hurt and pain, particularly if there is any connection to this lifetime with Queen Isabella, we call those soul pieces back here and now to this space. Anubis, Anpu, great God, be here with us. Provide the healing for everyone watching live, everyone on the replay. We call in this great healing. And Anubis just looks at you with so much love, with so much pride. And I invite you to place a hand on your heart, almost as if there was a door or a window, and feel this lost soul fragment, this lost piece of soul coming back through time and space and dimension, moving into your heart once more. Feel this fierce reclamation, this part of your soul come back to you. Take a moment to just breathe in, breathe out. And Anubis bows at you, great being. And here we call upon Isis, great goddess of healing, and Cleopatra herself. Please lend your overlighting presence. We call upon great healing for everyone here in this space, anyone who's been triggered by this queen, anyone who has past lives that are still impacting them today in any capacity, so they cannot step into their full power, their full queenship, their full leadership. Isis, we call upon a miracle of love and healing. And I invite you to see beautiful diamond and golds and raindrops pouring down from the heavens. You are being bathed in healing frequencies from goddess Isis. And really receive this miraculous healing, this great blessing from Isis. to integrate the healing that we have done here today with Anubis. Receive this now. Breathe in, breathe out. And now, Queen Isabella comes forward. We're going to connect with her more deeply in a second. But I invite you to see if she has anything to say to you, or perhaps if you have anything you would like to say to her. If she represents any pain that you have experienced or your ancestors experienced, express it. This is the moment to say what needs to be said. She can take it. She is strong enough. Or perhaps she has wisdom for you. Just take a moment. She is here wanting to connect with you in whatever way it is meant to be here in this moment. Okay, beautiful. And we're just going to let that integrate. Just going to let that integrate for a second. And that was kind of intense. So we are going to just take a couple of deep breaths, and I invite you to just like really ground for a second, like rub your palms together, move your feet against the floor, just really come back. And I feel like we should just move. We're going to move right into the activation with Queen Isabella. We've already, been here a while, so this won't be as long as the ones from previous days, but we're going to really work on activating that visionary aspect of you. So I invite you to just breathe in, breathe out, and feel yourself transported through time and space to Isabella's ancient kingdom, Castile. This is around 450 AD, almost 500 years ago. And you find yourself in a castle. It is cold, just a little bit dreary, but before you is a candle, and the candle warms you. You move closer and you stare at the light, and it is surprising to you that even in the darkness and the shadow and the cold, cold wind of this castle, that this light is so beautiful, that this warmth is still here. You hear footsteps coming towards you. You turn around and see the great Queen Isabella, the visionary who shaped history and changed the world. See her now with long red hair and very fierce, intelligent eyes. She walks over to you. She does not walk over to you apologetically. She comes to you saying, I am glad you are here. She takes your hands with affection, with power, and holds them strongly, tightly in hers. She says, there is something you are here to do in this world, something that is so unique, so important. I know this in my heart, she says. And it is my desire that I may help you find the strength, find the heart, the courage to do whatever you must do. If there's a part of you that is afraid or holding back, take my strength, she says. She takes both of your hands in hers, and there's a transmission that passes between the two of you. You are suddenly surrounded by blue light. It is a deep sapphire blue light. And here, take this in. This is her strength. This is her courage. But it's also the transmission of the visionary. Just take a moment to really feel yourself bathing in these frequencies. She takes your hand once more in hers. With one hand, she presses your hand in hers. The other hand, she takes to your third eye and says, here in this moment, I activate you to have a big vision of what you are here to do in this world. To be a visionary is to see what others cannot. There's seer-like power to this. What is your vision for this beautiful new world that we are all creating together? Take a moment to receive this activation, and now open to receive a vision. It might be colors, it might be light, it might be a knowing. Open now to receive whatever is meant to be shown to you. She invites you to go beyond sight, to open up to the God mind, divinity itself moving through you. Open your mind to its highest of highest self. Open your mind to the God mind, that you may receive visions of your divine destiny. This is a moment to really connect with your inner visionary, to trust your inner visionary. What is the world you are creating? What is the impact you are here to make? How far have you already come? And notice this. Notice how far you have come. She wants you to see this. She is proud of you. And she wants you to know that whatever you have left to do, you have the strength to do it. Your destiny is here to be claimed. Claim it, she says. And now she takes both of your hands again, and you receive a sacred final transmission from her to have the strength, the power, the knowing that you are here to claim your destiny. Seize that which is yours unapologetically. Be not afraid. Be daring. Be bold, she says. Don't wait for someone to hand you your destiny. Live by your own rules. Live life on your own terms. Then, and only then, will you be truly free. And just take a moment to bask in these frequencies, these energies coming from Queen Isabella herself. And now see if she has any special wisdom for you, if there's anything that she wants to share with you. Beautiful. I invite you to take one last look at the candle before you and this beautiful queen. She has one last piece of wisdom. She says, new paradigm leadership is saying, I will not do things the way they've always been before. I will not do them the way they've always been done. I will find a new way. I am the new way. I am the way that has never been before. I am the impossible made manifest. And I invite you to take a moment to breathe into this energy. Is there something in your life that feels impossible? Something that feels so big, gargantuan, that you could never achieve it, and yet it is in your heart. What feels impossible to you? And just take a moment to feel into that frequency, because it's just a frequency, it's just a construct. Impossible. Now Queen Isabella moves to you, and all of a sudden, that candle that you were staring at, she takes it in her hand and she raises it high above both of your heads. The two of you are suddenly surrounded in this beautiful orb of golden light. All of a sudden, it feels like you are held by the warmth of the sun. Here, she says, this is the impossible made manifest. Here, she says, this is impossible destiny realized. No, all is possible. I am living proof. In this beautiful golden orb that we stand in together, take this final activation from me, this final transmission of my power. Know that you are here to do the impossible, what has never been done before. You are here to build the new world from your heart, for it is precious, she says. All of a sudden, that beautiful orb of light dissipates, and it's just you and her together. And you feel something happening in your heart. You feel this great activation. And here in the space we call in divine love, the holiest of holies, divine love, that you may lead always from love, from service. And that this love, this leadership, this new world you are building, you can trust yourself. You can trust what you're creating, because henceforth and forevermore, you will know that it comes from the love, which is the greatest truth of your soul. Take another moment to breathe into this. Turn to Queen Isabella, who smiles and nods at you. And now I invite you to take one last look at this place. One last look. And feel yourself transported through time and space back to the room where you first began today's journey. You might want to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, take a deep breath, move your feet against the floor, and really come back here to this space. Beautiful. I'm going to give, someone asked yesterday for a couple minutes to write. So I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes, just jot down anything that came through for you. And then we're going to come back and share. But stay tuned, because I have our final activation. There's one more baby activation. So I'm going to just leave you guys for a couple minutes to write down any reflections, anything that you don't want to forget. And I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, beautiful. Let me check. I don't think anyone wrote anything in the chat. Would anyone like to either put in the chat um, what they experienced during that activation, or if you want to take yourself off mute, I'm happy to connect with any of you guys on camera. Definitely let me know. If not, we can move into the next activation. Let me just give you guys a minute. Did you guys, I don't know, I was gonna say, do you guys enjoy the soul retrieval? But I don't know if anyone really enjoys the soul retrieval. But I'm definitely just curious how that was for you. And again, I wanted to like have us connect with Queen Isabella in a way that was, just really honoring, like I want to honor every single person who is here, because I know that like you're trusting me. Everyone here in this group, I know there are people who have mixed feelings about Queen Isabella, and you still trusted me and you came anyway. So I really want to honor you. And I feel like that's another code that I just feel really wanting to come through. It's a lot of times like we think of kings and queens, and we honor the king, we honor the queen, we honor the nobility. But I feel that to come as a queen, you honor the people who are there with you. It's like that's the whole kind of King Arthur, Knight of the Round Table thing. I honor you. I want to make sure that you know that as a member of my community, that I hold you in the highest love. And I want that to be felt. And I also feel like that is part of what it is to be a true king or a true queen, is to make the love that you have for your people, that they know it, that you strive to do right by them. And so I'm just wanting to share that with you, because I feel that like we were talking about Isabella versus her brother Enrique. He didn't know how to do right by his people, so he wasn't beloved by. It's so funny. It's like it's a simple truth. To be beloved of the people, you must love the people. And there is something. There are things that came through a couple days ago. I now remember. There was a phrase that a mentor once told me. I don't know if they made it up or not, but it's a paradox. It's to be seen by the world, you need to show the world that you see it. And I'm sharing this because, again, it's an interconnectedness between all of us. And it really comes back. I always go back to King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, but I really feel like it's this principal idea of we all care for each other, and that is how we build. The phrase I'm hearing right now is that kind of Camelot, but you know what I'm saying. It's this new beautiful world. I feel like it's not just the world out there. It's not just Gaia. It's us, the people, united, standing together. So that's just me going on a little bit. Oh, so Annabelle, you're feeling serene. Rama, there was deep joy and silence. Okay. So, okay, Rena, she said this. Oh, you get this very, very powerful. Isabella told you that you are strong and courageous. Okay, Julie, you felt tingling feeling in the heart space. Yes, I'm telling you, I felt there was, for some reason, there was so much activation that wanted to happen in the heart today. So we might be doing more of that, because in our final activation, we're really going to connect with this Aquarian Queen. I know no one's going to have an issue. It's like, everyone's gotten all my emails with this like radiant, like Aquarian, it's like goddess like figure. And really, this is the Aquarian Queen that you are being invited to step into. And so this really is like the highest potential for you as a queen, as a leader. And I really feel that this Aquarian Queen, she leads with a full heart. And the Aquarian Queen, she needs all of the pieces from, the last 3 days. The Queen of Sheba, if ever there was a woman, whose cup was overflowing, it's the Queen of Sheba. And so I feel like, the Aquarian Queen leads with her cup overflowing. She leads from a full cup. The Aquarian Queen leads with the fierceness, with the fierce love that we experienced today with Queen Isabella. And she also leads, I feel like Cleopatra had so much magic and so much power as well. So it's really all of these pieces. Like, so that's really what I feel like we're called to do is we get to look at these great kings and queens from the past, and we get to take, you know, inspiration from them, the things they mastered in their lifetimes. We get to come into that mastery ourselves. And then we get to say, I will forge a new way and I will be what has never been. So it's not just like I will do what's never been done, but I will be what's never been. I'm just inviting you into that. And so that really is this Aquarian queen. She is revolutionary. She is leading edge. And so I just, when I was writing the page, inviting everyone here, I just kept hearing like she is the innovator. You know, she is the innovator. She is the one that has creative solutions. And even what's coming through right now is someone like Albert Einstein saying like you can't solve a problem, you know, with the same consciousness you used to create it. So it's that whole thing. It's like there are so many beautiful solutions. There are so many new possibilities and paradigms that we are literally on the brink of stepping into. And so we are invited here today to really use our visionary abilities, to use our imagination on a whole new level, knowing that that is where the true power lies. Okay. So I was like, still talking. I was like, let me see. What is the significance of the jeweled crown? I saw a crown when Isabella came. There is a crown, like she does receive, there is actually a jeweled crown. If you can literally Google, there is a jeweled crown. I don't know if Ferdinand gave it to Isabella. There's a jeweled crown that you can actually see historically. It's been in all different museums. So that's really cool if you saw that. Was it green and gold? I'm trying to go back up. I'm not sure, but there is literally a crown. You might have seen the actual crown. That would be kind of amazing. So I think that what you saw, Julia, my sense is that you saw like the actual crown that Isabella wore. I would invite you to Google like Queen Isabella crown, and it's at all different museums. Like it's gone to different art museums, different exhibits hold it at different times. So that's what I think you received a true activation from Queen Isabella herself. Because it is I just want to say it's a jeweled crown. It is a jeweled crown. And so Raven, you felt the biggest shift with Cleopatra, but the other queens felt more tangible, like a history lesson. And you also love the Star Lion. Oh, you felt like you had some blocks here today, but you know, you're still here for it. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So glad you like Cleopatra. I know. She was like, I felt like I couldn't do like Cleopatra. I wasn't planning on having her be day one at first. And Cleopatra was like, excuse me. I am day one. She has that larger than life Leo energy, which I love so much. And she has a little bit of that kind of peacock, like look at me energy. I love that. And so Brahma, let me just see before we do our last activation. You are stepping into the queendom of your own heart. I absolutely love that. Okay, beautiful. Okay. Take a sip of water. And we are going to wrap this up. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. I'm surprised. I kind of know where this journey is going. I know that this activation, like I said, we're connecting with that Aquarian Queen, and I think that we're also going to be connecting. I know I've described this before, but right now we're in the age of Aquarius, and this event we've also been looking at the age of Leo, 10,000 years ago, 10,000 BC, and that was really important because that was the time were these royal codes. They were really, really held by the royalty. They were held by women like the Queen of Sheba, held by people like King Solomon. They were held by ancient pharaohs. And so we are taking these codes from the golden age of Leo and bringing them here with us into the Aquarian age. So I think we're going to be actually journeying back a little bit to that age of Leo, bringing back these codes for you to really step into being the Aquarian Queen. So that's what's happening. And then I think we're going to receive a final blessing. I think I'm going to call in the Queen of Sheba. We'll call back Cleopatra for just like a final blessing, final bit of wisdom to wrap up these 3 extraordinary days that we've had together. Okay. So I invite you to take a couple deep breaths, and let me just call in anyone that I have not called in, any higher level guides, any higher level beings who are supposed to be here, divinely appointed to be here. Cleopatra, the Queen of Sheba, King Solomon, Yeshua, Mary Magdalene. We're calling upon the power of the golden age of Leo to be here with us. The power of Aquarius. We're calling on queen codes, king codes for everyone here. Just really, we're also calling in the Holy Grail to be here with us today. Calling in the power of the Grail. I don't know if you guys, the second I called in the Grail, I felt this whoosh. Calling in Arthur, Guinevere, the Knights of the Round Table. Here today we create a new earth. Here today we step into our place in the Aquarian age. And I invite you to take a couple more deep breaths. Close your eyes and feel yourself transported through time and space. And we're going back in time 10,000 years to the golden age of Leo. And you find yourself in an ancient temple. You are surrounded by Leos. They're beautiful lions everywhere. They're the most magnificent lions you've ever seen. Some of them have a star-like quality to them. They are galactic lions. Others, you see a noble white lion, the white lions, and you see lionesses too. And it seems that these lions, it's almost like they themselves are mounting different thrones. You were expecting perhaps to see pharaohs or kings and queens, but instead you see these mighty lions holding their crowns with such dignity, with such royalty. And there is a throne beside one of these mighty lions, and it is there just for you. And you walk up to this throne little by little. And as you do, the lions all move around you, rubbing against your legs, wanting to be pet, wanting to come be close to you, near you. As you walk past them, some of the lions are a little bit fierce. Sometimes there's a bit of a roar, but even in that roar, there is a kindness, a sparkle in their eyes. And it seems that with every lion you pass, you are feeling more and more in this divine energy of Leo. It seems like every step you take to this throne, you are receiving a transmission from this golden age of Leo, divine power codes. And now, step by step, walk up to this throne that is there waiting for you. And then a mysterious figure appears. A goddess walks towards you with the face of a lion. This is the goddess Sekhmet. She walks towards you, usually very, very fierce, but in this moment, she is so loving. And she is holding a crown, bejeweled. And the crown itself, even though it's bejeweled, it almost has, there's electricity, lightning that seems to form around the edges of the crown. Just, it's the most beautiful thing. It seems to hold the power of the sun itself. And Sekhmet walks towards you, holding out this throne, holding out this crown, moving towards you where you sit on the throne. Take a moment to really breathe in. Take a deep breath. Sekhmet raises this crown high above your head. She leans down and kisses your forehead. Take a moment now to look into the eyes of this great lioness, this great lion goddess, ancient Egyptian goddess of power. And she places now the crown upon you. And really feel this crown, really feel this. Know that you are being honored in this moment, that you are being recognized by the ancient gods and goddesses of the past. You are being recognized by the golden age of Leo. You're being recognized as a sovereign Leo. You're being recognized as a sovereign leader, a sovereign Leo. And just take a moment to really receive this transmission. And as the crown is on your head, feel that electricity from the crown surging all around you. Really, really bring through this great energy from the golden age of Leo. So it is one with you, part of you. In this moment, all timelines come together. You, this great being from the age of Aquarius, holding these new divine power codes, ancient power codes, truly. This is part of you stepping into your divine destiny, receiving the divine wisdom of the golden age. And just take a moment now. Perhaps you want to talk to Goddess Sekhmet to receive wisdom from her. Perhaps there is another lion who looks like they might have some wisdom for you. Whoever, is calling to you, I invite you to just go and connect with one of the beings in this space. Maybe you just want to sit with them and be with them. Or maybe there are words of wisdom. Whatever you are meant to experience, whatever you are meant to know, open to receive this now. And I invite you to pet the lions. They are very gentle. They are very delicate. They are very happy you are here. They are welcoming you as one of their pride. You are really being welcomed here as one of them. This is a high honor indeed. This is a very high honor. And there is one lion who suddenly gestures with the flick of their head for you to follow them. Or perhaps the lion speaks to you, and here in this space and time in this temple, you understand what they are saying. Come with me, the lion says. They walk outside the temple. You follow, and the goddess Sekhmet comes as well. You take step by step. You move into the night, and there high above you, up in the sky, you see the most brilliant stars, far more beautiful than you have ever seen them before. They shine like diamonds, shimmering. They take your breath away. And there in the night sky, you see the most beautiful being, the most beautiful goddess queen you have ever seen. This is the Aquarian Queen. See her up there in the sky, there before you now, with the beautiful blue gown, aquamarine. Her hair itself looks almost blue, her face blue like the night. And yet her hair is full of these jeweled stars. She smiles down at you. When you look behind you, Sekhmet is gone. The lion is gone. For a second, it's just you and the beautiful sky, this beautiful queen goddess towering above you. There's a great flash of light. Stars in the heavens suddenly move hither and thither so quickly, as though the cosmos themselves, the heavens, were dancing. And then there is a shooting star which comes to earth, landing before you. And from the rubble of that shooting star, this queen of the age of Aquarius stands before you in the flesh, in a beautiful blue gown. See her there with wild, radiant hair, stars like jewels around the locks of curls in her hair. Look into her eyes Are they cerulean? Are they green? Does she greet you with warmth? Does she smile? Take a moment to feel the cosmic power of this radiant goddess queen. This is the queen of the age of Aquarius. The queen of the age of Aquarius is all about this new world. She is about the future. She is the new paradigm. She is destiny. She is all that you have been asking to step into and experience. And now introduce yourself to this beautiful, magnificent Aquarian queen and see if she has any special words of wisdom for you today. Any messages she wants to bring through. Beautiful. She takes your hand now. There is a sacred activation and transmission that comes from her to you. And this will be unique, bespoke to you. Whatever you need right now, open to receive the frequencies, the energies you need for this next step in your life. Whatever you are calling for, she has. She has every frequency you can imagine. It all exists within her. It's almost like she is a rainbow prism of light, holding every possibility, every energy within her. She is infinite possibility itself. This is the true power of the Aquarian age. Receive now, open to receive whatever you most need here and now for your healing, for your elevation of purpose, for your ascension, for your happiness, for your joy, for the greatest bliss that you are here to experience in this lifetime. Own it, claim it, feel it now. Open to receive this gift from the Queen of the age of Aquarius. And now, if it feels good, you are invited to merge with this Aquarian Queen, to become one with her. You can do this through a simple embrace, or perhaps if you prefer, you may just want to receive a blessing if that is more comfortable for you. Just know that whatever you choose is perfect. If you choose to merge with this Aquarian Queen, open now. Feel this power within you. This is the woman you have been wanting to become. Step into her now. Be her now. Be this. It's okay. It is safe. It is safe and it is perfect to be her. How does it feel to embrace these new energies, these new frequencies, to embody them, to hold them within you? Breathe in, breathe out. And all of a sudden, your friend, the lion, comes back for you. That lion walks up to you to meet you one last time. And you're welcome to pet this lion around the ears. Maybe this lion nuzzles against you. Receive one final attunement from the great beings of the age of Leo. But this final attunement from the age of Leo comes through you in the form of a kiss. For the lion comes over to you, licking you so gently, so tenderly, nuzzling against you. Take the love from this time and bring it with you, Queen of Aquarius. And may you lead from your heart. May you lead from the wisdom of the stars, with the magic, the holy magic of creation within you. And all of a sudden, as you stand there, you are surprised that three magical beings appear before you: Cleopatra, the Queen of Sheba, and Queen Isabella. Each one comes closer. Each one places a hand on you. And they say, "We are so proud of you. We pass this torch of Queen to you. We trust you. We choose you. We claim you as the Queen of the new age. Be this now. Trust yourself. Know yourself as Queen." And I invite you to look one last time at these three queens: Cleopatra, Pharaoh Queen, the Queen of Sheba, Grail Queen, and Isabella. And see if one of these queens in particular has a final message for you today. I invite you to feel there is an activation at your third eye. It's like a blue flame. And this blue flame, this is the flame of the visionary. This is the flame of you as the innovator. Take this vision, and you are invited now to once more open to receive a vision from the divine mind of the great creatrix of all life. Open now to receive a vision, to receive a knowing of all that is possible for you. Beautiful. And now I invite you to take one last look at this place, at these three queens, at the lion, and feel yourself transported now, once again, through time and space, back to the room where you began today's magical journey. And I invite you to breathe in deeply, really, really breathe in deeply. Move your feet against the floor, ground in, anchor in, come into this space, come into this now moment. I invite you to feel actually little roots coming from the base of your feet. And I invite you to see those roots anchoring down, down, down into the center of the earth, wrapping around the crystalline core of Gaia, so that we're really anchoring these cosmic energies into the now moment. Really ground yourself here and now. Have this intention, set the intention to fully ground this in, to anchor this in, these sacred attunements. May you take them with you. And we're going to wrap up in a second, but I invite anyone here, I don't know, depends where you are in the world, but if you're in a warm place, I invite you to go outside after this and just like have your feet on the earth, just really ground. If you can't go outside because it's too cold, maybe do some gentle stretching or some yoga. Doesn't have to be for long, even if it's just like 1 or 2 minutes, just something to really ground this in, because this was very deep, very cosmic. Okay. Whew. Okay, so we're going to wrap up. I just want to see in the chat if anyone wants to share how that experience was for them, or if you want to take yourself off mute, if anyone wants to share. Whew, this was an epic day. I'm trying to see, we've been on the call almost 2 hours. Okay, good. So we're good for time. But let me just see in the chat, does anyone want to share their takeaways, their greatest experiences? Maybe what I'll do, I'm going to give everyone 30 seconds to just jot down any notes. I'll stop talking for a second. I'll give you guys 30 seconds to just integrate, jot down any notes that you want to write down. Hey, beautiful. I know. I think someone wrote in the chat. They're like, it was intense. But let's see. Let me go down. But thank you. Okay, Bridget, you said your vision was a white dove with the gold ring in its beak. Oh, I love that. That is gorgeous. I love that. So in the past life, you were persecuting the Spanish Inquisition. Still today, I feel scared to speak out. She's helping me with this. Oh my God. And you just signed up for Queen Codes. Yeah. I can't wait to have you there. Oh my God. It's going to be so exciting. Oh my goodness. And I'm so happy, Bridget, you bringing that message through, that like, today you're still scared to speak out, and Isabella is actually helping you with this. I'm not sure if it's Isabella helping you with this or the Aquarian Queen, but either way, I feel like you were divinely guided to be here, divinely meant to be here, so that you can at last work through this. And because I work with you before I know you, I know how powerful you are. You are here to step into your full power, your full destiny. And when you do, oh my God, mountains will move. So I'm so happy that you're doing Queen Codes, and I'm glad that we were able to do some healing today around the Spanish Inquisition. So happy that that healing was able to support you. And let me just see. Okay. Let's see, Carol. I think it's Carol. You said an amazing experience. Good and positive messages for Gaia and her inhabitants. Yay! Okay, and then so Katerina, this was almost overwhelming. I felt a very strong presence. I believe my cats in spirit were among the lions. I want you guys to know that when I originally came up with the idea for the second activation, I knew we were going to be in a temple, and I was going to say leaders, pharaohs, kings, like from the golden age of Leo. And every time I tried to say leader, it came out Leo. I'm letting you know the lions hijacked they literally took over my mouth. And I was like, okay, apparently we're surrounded by lions. I did not plan that. That totally surprised even me. So I know I'm kind of reading, it was almost overwhelming. You felt, your cats, in spirit were among the lions. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh my God. Okay. The merging with the Aquarian Queen was very powerful. Oh, thank you. Oh, you said it's a perfect birthday present. Is this your birthday? If today is your birthday, oh, it is your birthday. Oh my God, happy birthday. Thank you for being here on your birthday and sharing that with all of us. Oh my God, I'm sending you extra birthday love. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I think you've been here all 3 days, and I'm sending you and your cats so much love. Oh my goodness. Thank you. I feel really honored that I got to spend that with you. And let me see, Julia, you said you are a Leo. So it's easy to identify with the lions. And before I said the lion brushes against your leg, it happened. I know, I just felt them all. They were like, we're here. I love this. And you felt something being placed in your hand, a baton, and your body went into a bow or curtsy towards the end. Sekhmet's eyes were very piercing. I know, also surprised. I did not expect Sekhmet. I was like, this is all supposed to be a queen activation. I was like, I hope these people, I was like, I know everyone here. Like most of you have worked with me before. So you're not surprised that goddesses just randomly show up. But I was like, Sekhmet, I didn't expect you. So I'm so glad that that went over well. And yes, I also love that literally, I think, let's see, Julie, that you were handed a baton, because I really feel like that's one of the phrases that came through. It was like the age of Leo, they're passing us the baton. They're literally passing the torch, passing the baton to us. So I love that. That's so symbolic and so rich. And Julie, you're saying it's 22, 2202, 2024. So it's auspicious numbers. Yes. Rama, you felt Hathor as well. And Leslie, you're saying, thank you. The presence of lions was very strong. Yes, I swear, I cannot tell you this. I kept trying to say leader, and every time I tried to say it, it was Leo. It's like, okay, I guess the lions are just here. So I'm so honored that I got to spend these beautiful 3 days with you. So I think this is the end of our Queen Challenge. Feel free if you want to, send me an email, let me know how this was for you. I'd love to hear. Also, if you want to go deeper, the doors are open to Queen Codes. I can't wait to, I'm so excited for Queen Codes. And there's a special, I mentioned this before, a special fast action bonus if you sign up before Saturday at midnight Eastern time. And this course is just very, very dear to my heart. I got the call to do this about 6 months ago. I know it is going to be epic. And I want to experience the magic with all of you. I would love anyone who is called to work deeper with these queens. They want to go deeper with you. They want to help you step into your majesty, step into your purpose, step into your beauty, your power, your magnificence. So if that's something that calls to you, I should put the link in the chat. Let me do that again. Put the link in the chat. And let's see. Rama, thank you. Thank you for my queen blessings. Yes. No, I felt like the queen activation. I just want to speak this, this is just like the last thing I'll say. It's so funny because even though like I've said to you before, like I've had past lives as queen, it's funny because even though you might have had that in past lives, it's very different when it's like, oh no, like to step into it again is always a little bit scary. And even today, like I said, today was like the day I was most nervous for, because spirit had said, like that Queen Isabella was the one who wanted to come forward. And I trusted, I trusted that. And I share this with you because like I said, I had this part of me that was like, what am I going to do? And then Isabella came through, don't back down. And I feel that message so strong that I want to say it again as we close out, because all of you have beautiful dreams, beautiful beyond compare, dreams more beautiful and more precious than any diamonds. And these queens, we live in an age, this is what's coming through. I don't usually speak so bluntly. I feel like we live in an age where there's great corruption. And I'm not usually so blunt, but I feel this. I feel this. And that is why I feel that we are called to step up as leaders. We are the voice of tomorrow. We are the grail. We are the voice of tomorrow. But it's not just I mean, even though like yes, this is a fun program to like to really like step into your power, really I do feel the world is calling for Aquarian leaders. It is calling for revolutionaries. And that is really my intention with this class. It is for deep healing. It is for deep soul-led activation. It is for you to live your best life, your highest purpose, your bliss and potential. But it's also for the woman who is here to make a difference. And that is my prayer. That is my blessing for anyone who wants to go deeper with these queens. That is my promise to you. So let's see. I think a couple more people wrote in the chat. Just thank you. Oh, someone saying they were unique. Yeah, it's a very, very original. Yes, that's also the Aquarian. That's also the Aquarian energy. It is unique, and that's the whole thing. Is I feel like we are all of us in the Aquarian age being called into our uniqueness. So with that, I'm sending all of you so much love, so much deep, deep love and joy for being here with me these last 3 days. I consider it an honor, truly an honor to have journeyed with you, to have been here with you. And I hope to continue that journey in Queen Codes and beyond that, because as you are, you are in my community, you have come here to spend the sacred time with me. And there is nothing like the most precious thing we have is this life, is this time that we spend together. And you've chosen to spend that here with me. And so I receive that with such great love. Thank you for honoring me with your sacred, divine, holy presence. And with that, I want to close out and send all of you so much love, sending all of you the deepest love of my heart, and seeing all of you as the queens and kings that you truly are. Blessed be.